Hello, my name is Sharon, and I'm with Youth Services at the Wheaton Public Library. And the book I've chosen to talk to you today about for our Tween Nonfiction book talk is called Canute. So Canute is a story about twin bear cubs that were born at the Berlin Zoo in Berlin, Germany. And unfortunately, only one of those bear cubs survived. The other one did pass away, but Canute, who you see here, survived. But one other unfortunate thing was, for poor little Canute, is that his mother did not accept him. She would not raise him. And that can happen sometimes in captivity, that animals will not raise their young. So once that was apparent to the people who worked at the zoo, the head bear keeper, who is named Thomas, decided to take care of Canute and just become like his foster dad. So he took over all aspects of Canute's care, actually moved into Canute's room with him, fed him, bathed him, played with him, sang him songs, and just took care of him, so that he could grow up to be an adult polar bear. An interesting thing about the story of Canute is that it actually went viral. So first he became kind of a sensation in Germany, and people were so excited that he was being cared for and he survived, and they were really rooting for him, and lots of people came to see him. And then it actually became an international sensation of people wanting to know how Canute was doing and watching him grow up. So that was a fun story. And then there's some facts in the back about polar bears that's quite interesting too. So you might want to pick that book up. I really enjoyed it. And if you read this book and you like it, there is a movie. So I suggest you read the book first. And then if you want to know more about Canute, you can pick up the movie and learn more about him and see him. All right? So after I read this book, I thought that was really interesting, and I wondered if we had any more books about polar bears, about baby polar bears in particular. And I found this one. It's called A Pair of Polar Bears. And I'm sorry, I should tell you the authors. This is by Joanne Ryder, okay? And Canute is told by Juliana, Isabella, and Craig Hatkoff. Okay. All right, so let's get back to A Pair of Polar Bears. So this one's a little different in that these two, brother and sister, were born in the wild, but they were orphaned at just 3 months old. So they were born in Alaska. And then some people found the polar bears orphaned, and they flew them to the zoo in San Diego, California. So let me show you. So you see, way up there is where they were born, and they were flown way down here to the zoo. So this is a really fun read, and as I say, they were just 3 months old, and they're brother and sister, and they were very, very bonded. They were always kept together, which I think is really cool. And it goes just through their life and their growing up years, and so I thought that was a really fun read too. So, pick up Canute, pick up A Pair of Polar Bears, pick up the movie if you'd like. I think you'll like them.
Hi everyone, I'm Miss Tina, and I wanted to share a really great book with you. It's called All Birds Have Anxiety, and it's written by Kathy Hoopman. And I really enjoyed this book because on each page it shows a bird expression to go along with what you might be feeling when you have anxiety or if you're having a bad day. And there's one page in particular, it talks about not getting enough sleep, and I believe that I look exactly like these birds when I don't get enough sleep, and I'll read the page to you. To make things worse, we don't sleep well. We lie there knowing we have to sleep. Then we worry that we can't sleep, which stops us from sleeping. Arrgh! Yeah, and I absolutely feel that way. And so here are the pictures of the birds, and I believe that I look exactly like this when I cannot sleep. I think that's a pretty accurate representation of exactly what I look like. And so this book is filled with different ways that anxiety can affect us. Sometimes we freeze, sometimes we don't want to be around others, and many, many more manifestations of anxiety and what the behavior that goes along with it. At the end, though, towards the end of the book, it talks about ways to be able to work through anxiety, which is so important. And I'm going to read one of those pages for you. So even if you don't check out the book, it might be good to know a couple different ways to cope when you're just having a bad day. And so some things to remember is I don't have to be perfect. It's great I tried my hardest. The world won't end if I make a mistake, which is all true. And so here's the expression on this bird that goes along with those coping mechanisms that you can think about if you're having a bad day. And so again, all birds have anxiety. It's great for social emotional learning, and I highly recommend it. Thanks, and have a great day.
Hello, I'm Marianne from the Youth Services Department, and for my book recommendation for nonfiction, Tween, I picked a biography. So I love the biographies that we have in our Tween Center. There are different formats. You can read a picture book biography, a chapter book, a graphic novel. There are different ways, and it is so interesting to read someone's story. We all have a story. I have a story. You have a life story. And it's interesting to read someone's story and, to be inspired by someone's story. So the book I picked is The Oldest Student, How Mary Walker Learned to Read by Rita, Lorraine, Hubbard. So this is a picture book biography from our Tween section, and it's a new book that we have. And this is an amazing woman, an amazing story, and I'm so glad I was introduced to her through this book. So, of course, reading the title, The Oldest Student, doesn't it make you wonder, how old was she? First thing you think about, well, I wonder how old she was. Give me a number. Think of a number, a big number. Do you think she was 100? No, she was older. 110? Older. 115? Older still. She was 116 years old when she learned to read. Never too old to learn something new. So, the story of Mary Walker, she was born in 1848, and she was born in slavery. She had a very hard life. So she did not have the opportunity to learn to read or write. She had to work very hard. And then she ended up raising her family. Then she had to work hard to provide for them. And the years went on, but she always had this desire to learn to read. So at 116, she learned. She ended up taking a class to learn to read, and she worked so hard, and she had dedication and perseverance, and she studied and had to go over the alphabet and sight words and everything so she could put them together to learn to read, and she did it. She did it. Amazing. I'm going to open up a page for you so you can see. I love the illustrations. So here she is. Look at all those cheerleaders around her. I love it. Okay, each year before her birthday celebration came to an end, someone would whisper, "Let's listen to Mary." The shuffling and movement would fade away until not a sound was heard. Then Mary would stand on her old legs and clear her old throat. And then she would read from her Bible or school book in a clear, strong voice. And when she had finished reading, she would gently close her book and she would say, "You're never too old to learn." Yay. That's a wonderful message. 116. So as soon as I had finished reading this book, I came across a quote from another famous author, C.S. Lewis. He wrote the Narnia series. And the quote that I have is, he said, "You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream." Very inspiring. It makes me wonder, did he know the story of Mary Walker? I don't know. But I do know Mary had it right. You're never too old to learn. So, go ahead, pick up a biography. It might inspire you for your life story.
Hello, my name is Miss Brooke. I work in the Youth Service Department at the Wheaton Public Library. Today I want to share with you a super cool book series by Jess Keating, and it's called The World of Weird Animals. It's nonfiction and it's in our Tween department. I'm focusing on Cute as an Oxytol because it's a Monarch award-winning book. That means kids kindergarten through third grade voted that this was their favorite book in the year 2020. That's pretty awesome. I really like Jess Keating's books because she always focuses on interesting animals. Some are gross, some are scary, some are cute, but they're always really neat. I also really like her books because the layout is really easy to read. There's a picture of the oxytol. She has a small paragraph about the animal, a section where she highlights a cool feature of the animal, and then facts about the animals, how big they are, what they eat, where they live. And I also think that David DeGrand's illustrations are super cute. So the oxytol is one of the most adorable creatures around, but don't mistake it for just a cute face. These aquatic salamanders are masters of regeneration. If an oxytol loses a limb trying to escape a predator, it can simply grow it back. Sometimes it will even repair the damaged limb and grow a new one, leaving it with an extra arm or leg. As if that wasn't awesome enough, it can also regenerate its spine and jaws and parts of its brain. Wow! Stylish headgear. See those feathery branches that grow from the sides of the oxytol's head? Those aren't just for show. They're the oxytol's gills. Unlike tadpoles, which lose their gills as they mature into frogs, healthy oxytols hang on to their gills for their entire lives. So the stylish headgear, there's the gills. Now under the facts, there's something really interesting. Predators and threats. Oxytols are listed as critically endangered because their lake habitats are contaminated and drained often. Herons and introduced species like large fish lower their numbers, and they're also considered a delicacy in Mexico. Recent surveys have found no surviving individuals in the wild. Most breeding oxytols are now found in aquariums, research labs, and the pet trade. Wow, so that's really endangered. Some other super cute ones I wanted to show you. There's a pangolin, which I learned is the only mammal that has scales. And there's also super cute little rabbit, which actually 20 years ago, there was only 30 of these little pygmy rabbits in the wild. But now, because of captive breeding programs, there is a lot more. So at the end of the book, Jess Keating asks, what makes a cute animal? What do you think is a cute animal? And she encourages her readers to draw their very own cute animals. So I like that part of the book too. She has some others. Our newest one is Gross as a Snot Otter. There's also What Makes a Monster? Woo! And pink is for blobfish. Yep. So, I don't know. What makes an animal scary? What makes an animal cute? What makes an animal gross? I mean, that's my favorite animal. That's a tarsier. So, maybe you'll find your favorite animal in one of Jess Keating's books. But I know that you'll learn a lot of really cool facts about animals if you read them. Thanks for listening.